You know, we tap on them dozens, maybe even hundreds of times a day. They connect us with friends, family, our colleagues. They live on our phones, our desktops, even our watches. But have you ever stopped to think about what's actually happening under the hood? What's the real anatomy of a chat app? Well, today, we're going to pull back that curtain and find out. So, let's just set the stage here. The problem we all face every single day is, well, it's communication chaos. We're constantly juggling all these different platforms, right? One for work, another for our friends, maybe a third for a special interest group. And what happens? Things get fragmented. We miss stuff, conversations get lost, and our digital lives just feel scattered. No, really, just take a second and think about it. For me, it's got to be at least four. You've got your standard texts, a work messenger like Teams or Slack, probably a social media DM, and maybe something for a hobby. It's a lot, isn't it? And this right here, this is the exact pain point that drives the need for a better way to connect. And that's really the heart of the problem. When our tools are divided, so are our connections. It creates these kind of invisible barriers that make just talking to each other way more difficult than it needs to be. So, what's the answer to all this chaos? Well, it's this idea of a custom-built chat application. Imagine a single, dedicated platform that's designed specifically to bridge all of those gaps, to bring everything and everyone into one cohesive space. And this vision, it's actually really powerful. Think about this quote from our source material. It's not just about building another app. The mission is to fade communication barriers and connect people, whether they're in the office next door or on the other side of the world. And if you're a business or an organization, the why gets even bigger. A custom app isn't just a tool, it's a huge strategic asset. It helps you build credibility and trust with your users, it lets you expand your reach to a global audience, you can actually track your growth, create a really vibrant collaborative space, and, this is crucial, make sure all that valuable information is stored safely and securely. All right, now for the main event. Let's really dissect one of these apps. We're going to look at all the essential features, the actual building blocks that take a simple messaging tool and turn it into a powerful platform for connection. Okay, first things first, you have to nail the fundamentals. These are the absolute basics, the features that users just expect these days. You need robust group chats for teams, high-quality audio and video calling, and of course, the ability to share pretty much anything, from documents and images to your location. And you've got to give users control with customizable profiles and notifications. But listen, what's running behind the scenes is just as important. A truly great chat app is built on a foundation of trust. That means giving users real control over their privacy, having solid data backups, and even using concepts like decentralization, which basically means that instead of one central company controlling everything, the network itself adds a layer of transparency and security. Let's zero in on one of those safeguards, because you hear this term all the time: end-to-end encryption. So what does it actually mean? Well, think of it like this. It's a security method that scrambles your messages the second you hit send. The only people who have the keys to unscramble and read them are you and the person you sent them to. Not the company, not a hacker, nobody else. It's the gold standard for private communication. Okay, so you've designed the perfect app with all the best features. But where will people actually use it? To be truly effective, a chat app has to be everywhere its users are. It has to be built for every single screen. The two giants, of course, are iOS and Android, and developing for each one requires a totally different focus. With iOS, it's all about meeting Apple's famously high standards for security and that slick, polished user experience. On the other hand, for Android, the big challenge is building a super efficient app that runs smoothly across thousands of different devices, from the fanciest new phone to a budget model.
And it doesn't just stop at the phone. The whole ecosystem can expand everywhere. You start with mobile, that's the foundation, but then you can build progressive web apps that work perfectly in a browser on desktop or mobile. From there, you can integrate with wearables like smartwatches or even AR glasses for notifications on the fly. You can even build for smart TVs for things like live customer support right there on the big screen.
So we get how they're built and we know where they live, but what are they actually for? The answer is, well, it's so much more than just catching up with friends. Let's look at how this technology is being customized for all sorts of different industries.
And this is where it gets really powerful. Take healthcare, where they're used for secure communication between hospital staff and for online patient help. In education, they can be powered by AI to provide study help and revision tools. For e-commerce, they're absolutely essential for tracking your orders and connecting you with logistics. In fintech, you're seeing AI-assisted financial reports. And of course, for pretty much any modern business, a custom chat app is the central hub for the whole operation.
So where does all this go from here? We've seen the evolution from just solving scattered conversations to building these incredibly specialized, secure platforms. The next step is really about making these connections even smarter, even more seamless. And that's the ultimate takeaway right there. Chat apps have completely evolved. They started out as these simple tools for sending messages back and forth, but they've transformed into something far more critical. They are, quite literally, becoming the central nervous system for modern organizations, the core stream where all the information, all the collaboration, and even the culture flows. So, I'll just leave you with this one last thought. We've seen how chat apps can connect teams, entire industries, and customers, but their potential is so much bigger. If you had the power to build one from scratch, to solve any single problem in the world, what would you choose to connect? What gap would you bridge? It's a pretty big question, and the answer might just shape the future of how we all communicate.